I remember when I first started playing Splatoon, I thought to myself, these abilities hardly seem to make a difference. At the time I had no idea how great the potential was, or how half of them even worked. I can now assure you that filling up your gear is well worth your time, especially if you like to create your own strategies and techniques. Today we'll discuss the various approaches to constructing tactics. Hopefully you will leave well prepared to plan your future endeavors on the battlefield. If you have any ingenious insights, please share them by commenting below. Before we can go crazy planning our strategies, it's a good idea to figure out how each ability works. The gear type specific abilities, Ninja Squid, Drop Roller, Thermal Ink, Haunt, and Tenacity, are the most straightforward. Ninja Squid lets you swim without making any ripples, at the cost of your speed being slightly reduced. This can be mitigated by equipping Swim Speed Up. If being undetected is your primary concern, then you might want to try equipping Cold-Blooded as well, so that enemies' tracking will wear off more quickly. Drop Roller allows you to perform a quick dodge roll as you're landing from a super jump. This special roll can be engaged sooner than a standard dually dodge roll, and is immediately followed by a 3-second boost to your run speed, swim speed, and ink resistance. This makes it especially useful for avoiding being taken out by enemies who camp at your landing spot. Thermal Ink grants you the ability to see distant foe silhouettes through walls for about 12 seconds after you hit them with shots from your main weapon. I recommend using this ability with a long-range shooter so that opponents will have a much harder time sneaking up on you. Haunt works similarly, but instead renders an enemy visible only once they splat you. Additionally, if the foe that you are haunting gets splatted, they will suffer a longer respawn delay and lose more of their special gauge. If you're an aggressive player, this may be the perfect way to get an edge over your rival. Tenacity will cause your special gauge to slowly fill by itself when the enemy team has more active players than your team. This is an excellent ability for anyone who likes to play defense and support their team by serving as a backup force. Those abilities weren't too complicated, but we're not done yet. Respawn Punisher causes both you and any enemies you splat to take longer to respawn and lose more of your special gauge than usual. It affects you more than the enemies that you splat, so its actual benefits are questionable. Object Shredder makes your main weapon, sub-weapon, and special weapon attacks against non-player objects more powerful. This includes squid beacons, sprinklers, splash walls, bubbles, ballers, ink armor, ink rails, sponge blocks, and even the Rainmaker shield. Object Shredder, for this reason, is a popular choice when playing Rainmaker. Stealth Jump is as useless as Respawn Punisher, since it hides your super jump landing spot, but only from distant enemies. Please comment below if you have ever been able to use this ability effectively. Comeback essentially rewards you for getting splatted by giving a boost to your main and sub ink efficiency, ink recovery, run speed, swim speed, and special gauge charge rate for the first 20 seconds after respawning. This ability is great for players who are impulsive risk takers. Opening Gambit increases your run speed, swim speed, and ink resistance for the first 30 seconds of battle. The duration of its effects will be extended by 7.5 seconds for every splat or assist that you get during its active period. Opening Gambit is an excellent choice if you're a go-getter who likes to be the first to jump into action. Last Ditch Effort greatly boosts your ink efficiency, ink recovery, and grants quick respawn for the last 30 seconds of battle. The effects even persist into overtime, and it will kick in when the opposing team is 30 points or fewer from winning. This ability is for players who never give up because they know that it isn't over until it's over. Stackable abilities grant an accumulating effect when you have multiple instances of them applied at the same time. Let's look at a brief description of each of them. Inksaver Main. With this ability, your main weapon will consume less ink. Inksaver Sub makes your sub-weapon use less ink. Ink Refill Up allows you to refill your ink tank quicker. With Run Speed Up, you can run faster. You can swim faster with swim speed up. Special Saver reduces the amount of your special gauge that is drained when you get splatted. Cold-Blooded causes position tracking effects to wear off sooner. Quick Super Jump makes your super jumps initiate quicker and move faster. When you wear gear with bomb defense up, indirect damage that is inflicted on you by bomb explosions will be reduced. Special Charge Up, in spite of what the name suggests, reduces the number of points required to activate your special weapon, rather than making it charge faster. Quick Respawn shortens your respawn delay, but only if you did not splat any opponents while you were alive. Sub Powerup will affect you in various ways depending on what sub-weapon you are currently using. Throwable weapons can be thrown farther, not splash walls. Ink Mine's radius of detection is widened, and will track enemies for longer. The tracking duration of point sensors will also be increased. Curling bombs will move faster and farther. Sprinklers will last longer before slowing down. Splash walls will be able to take more hits before breaking. And squid beacons will be able to be jumped to quicker by you and your teammates. Like Sub Powerup, Special Powerup works in different ways for different specials. It increases the duration of Stingray, Inkstorm, Inkjet, Ink Armor, and all bomb launchers. Ink Armor activates sooner. Baller receives extra health. Bubbles are increased in size and explosion radius. Tentamissile's aiming reticle is enlarged. And Inkjet's shots have a bigger explosion. It's a misconception that Special Powerup increases Splashdown's blast radius. The way that Splashdown works is that the higher you are when you activate it, the larger the explosion. Special Powerup in fact decreases the height required to produce the maximum blast radius. In other words, the official Splatoon 2 wiki is wrong. You can thank me later. During Splatfest, you will be required to wear a Splatfest Tee. All Splatfest Tees have the main ability Ability Doubler, which, as expected, doubles the effectiveness of sub-abilities attached to it. Yes, this final ability somehow manages to be even more useless than Respawn Punisher. It is beyond me how anyone at Nintendo's Squid Research Lab thought that this was a good idea. With so many choices, where do you even begin in order to form a strategy? Well, let's break down the problem into these three elements: Mitigation, Specialization, and Synergy. These terms describe the three advantageous manners in which abilities and weapons can interact with each other. When using a weapon like the Dynamo Roller, Ink Saver Main is commonly equipped with the purpose of mitigating the weapon's rapid ink consumption. Here we observe a rather cliché example of the specialization element. This player will undoubtedly be able to respawn very quickly, but that is about the extent of his game plan. Synergy is the most intricate strategic element, as it involves the complementary interaction of multiple distinct elements in a manner that produces a greater compound effect than any of the individual elements are capable of. By combining Ninja Squid with Cold-Blooded and Sub Powerup, in addition to using a weapon kit that includes point sensors or ink mines, you will ensure that you maintain an edge over your opponents by knowing their location while concealing your own. Our next step is to combine multiple elements. When we merge Mitigation with Specialization, we get a new sub-element called Compensation. Unlike Mitigation, Compensation does not suppress the undesired effect, but instead develops a separate strength to serve as a counterbalance to the perceived weakness. When using the E-Leader 4K, due to its limited movement and slow firing rate, it's easy to get cornered. My favorite approach is to equip some quick super jump so that I have an alternative way to go from one sniping position to another. Adding the ideals of synergy to mitigation gives us generalization. Generalization is similar to synergy in that it uses multiple means of improvement, but with the focus of mitigating minor deficiencies while complementing abilities that have broad use. As a result, this sub-element accomplishes a well-rounded set of capabilities. I find it useful to equip Ink Resist Up and Ink Saver Main when using dualies. as it allows me to dodge roll over enemy ink for longer while taking less damage. When we take the principle of specialization and apply it to synergy, we develop multiple traits which constitute one specific strength. This composited element is called optimization. If you're a fan of ink armor, then you undoubtedly want to have it active as much as possible. You can optimize for this by equipping Tenacity, Special Charge Up, Special Saver, and Special Power Up. Can you guess what results from implementing all three of these strategic elements? The meta emerges.
Go! I did not see that coming!
META stands for Most Effective Tactic Available. I don't have much respect for the established meta, since it discourages experimentation, is primarily used for competitive purposes, and is always changing. I prefer to invent my own methods and usually choose the path least traveled. Splatoon 2 will keep evolving as Nintendo continues to apply patches to the game. You can check out the updates page on Nintendo's official Splatoon 2 website to see the changes that were made in the 3.0 update, because there were a lot of them. Thank you for watching. Leave your thoughts on what we talked about today or suggestions for a future video by leaving a comment below. If you enjoyed this, then you can help me by pressing the like button and sharing with your friends. Until next time.
So long, Bowser.